The Earth is a beautiful place, an oasis of life in a black, endless sea of nothing. Humans have become the masters of this world by ingenuity, achievement, and an insatiable drive to continue to exist. Yet now that we have eliminated all predators, we find ourselves the biggest threat to our collective future. We move from survival to abundance to excess. And now we have turned our paradise into a place overran with needless things as we deplete our resources, making this a wasteful world. There's nothing quite like the feel of a great fitting suit or dress. Yet the industries behind fast fashion are contributing to wastefulness at an unprecedented level. A fast fashion can be defined as cheap, trendy clothing that samples ideas from catwalks or celebrity culture and turns them into garments in high street stores at breakneck speed. Fast fashion is also a major contributor to greenhouse gases, water and air pollution, and creates problematic levels of waste. In 2023, there were 7,644,677 fashion companies around the world. That's one fashion company for every 1,000 people alive on Earth. Fashion used to follow a seasonal calendar, where designers would release lines 4 times a year. But the fashion industry doesn't stick to that schedule anymore. In fact, the typical 4 drops a year in fashion has increased to 52 micro seasons, or one new collection being released every week. Currently, clothing companies are producing 2 times the amount of clothes they did back in 2000. That's over 1 billion new garments every year. That's the weight of the Washington Monument in clothing each year. And even though Americans are buying 4 times more than they did in 2000, they are not wearing at least 50% of the clothes they own. The problem is simple. Fashion industry is producing more clothing than we can wear. And with 52 micro seasons, it is estimated that 11.3 million tons of textile waste ends up in U.S. landfills yearly, accounting for approximately 85% of all textiles. This equates to an alarming 81 pounds of textile waste per person per year. In a more tangible sense, think of 2,150 pieces of clothing being discarded every second across the country. This is the equivalent of a garbage truck filled with clothing ending up in the landfill every second of every minute of the year. 525,000 truckloads, 3 times the amount of garbage trucks that are even on the road in the USA. Of all the clothes that are thrown away in the world, 57% are sent to a landfill, 25% incinerated, and less than 20% of all new clothing items are recycled. What about returns? Well, here's the big deal. In 2022 alone, a whopping 9.5 billion pounds of landfill waste was generated by returns, creating 24 million metric tons of CO2 emissions in the process. It would take nearly 400 million trees to grow for 10 years just to offset the emissions created by 1 year of clothing returns. Fashion industry is responsible for 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, and it is the fastest growing waste stream in the world. And there's more than just one problem. There are about 8,000 synthetic chemicals and dyes that are used in apparel industry manufacturing processes. These dyes and chemicals that do not end up in city water treatment plants or groundwater in residential areas from laundry, they end up in the landfill, leaking into the water table, affecting wildlife and groundwater for decades. The industry uses planned obsolescence as a business strategy and has intentionally designed their stream of clothing to make last week's clothing obsolete. With all the excessive chemicals and resource use in production, the waste and the contamination, it is clear that we as the consumer are the only ones that can stop them by shopping when we need something as opposed to when they want us to. While their goal is to encourage consumers to buy new products, the results are devastating to the environment and our resources.